basically, once you have your electrostatic sprayer, fogger, mister, atomizer, there are many different types of equipment that you can use. Many are perfectly fine, but we want to make sure when selecting any piece of equipment, though, is the micron size. That is what is most important. Now, foggers don't necessarily use microns. They're basically using the dry gas molecules, which rely on volume rather than micron size. For us, we really want the micron size. Okay. We want
so while I'm doing this, do I need to wear a mask or anything like that?
So with 99.9% of the other products, you do, and you can't use them in occupied spaces, but for the selector site, you do not.
Good.
Okay. And that's most important because based on the
I don't want to be wearing gloves and masks. I'm never going to do it.
You're never going to do it. Most people don't do it, or they'll do it for the first week, and then they won't do it. And if, because of the current guidelines, you do have to, and for the state, not ours, you have to do it, between sessions, between classes, etc. Exactly. So if you have people in one half of the facility, and you're walking in a hazmat suit, spraying around them, they're going to be scared shitless, right? So you have to have a product that you can spray in occupied spaces. Okay. And that's very limited. Select site. Okay, good. Okay. So basically, with this, you simply can fill it up like this, pump it in, or you can put it into a gas tank, gas canister, however you want to do it. Right. And then you simply turn it on, and as you can see, I'm not going to spray this. Yeah, you can spray anything. And one of the, okay, so basically, you want to stand about 2 to 6 feet away. So you want to stand about 2 to 6 feet away from whatever you're spraying, just to make sure you get that blanket fine mist to coat everything, because if you do stand, you're going to get that thick droplet side. That's going to be too heavy of a micron, and it's going to take that much longer to dry. And that's not going to be good for the clean section. So if you stay, you're still going to get that saturation and dwell time that you need, but it's going to dry much better. Okay. So that's really important. Now, if we're going to shift over to a piece of equipment like this, what's really important is that the electrolyte specifically is a non-corrosive chemical that you're going to be able to spray pretty much every aspect of the bike. In this instance, the electronics, again, staying 2 to 6 feet away, and you're not going to have any of those problems of, a month from now, everything's starting to rust out. And again, because of the micron size, that's what I really want to keep emphasizing. You're able to hit every molecular structure of this bike in seconds, as opposed to a spray bottle. It would take you forever. You would never hit those current state guidelines of being able to go from equipment to equipment in your line of time that you have to get to the class sizes that you need.
That thing's perfect. I wish I had it years ago. I don't know. That to me is I have. So I'm roughly actual workout space about 1,500 square feet with my equipment. My goal was to have about a half-hour downtime between classes to get everybody out, spray everything, and then just let it air dry. If I sat there with a bottle, that's just going to impossible.
It's impossible. And actually, if you want to, again, one more time for the micron size, if you were spraying with a spray bottle, you are the equivalent of a marble with a spray bottle, just to put it into like a metaphor. With this, you're a pinhead on a pinhead. So if you're spraying with a spray bottle, you're just missing so
what's the point of
much.
having a spray bottle? It is in the New York State guidelines, not
It is.
ours. What's the point? If I'm doing this in between every class, what am I using?
Well, because there is also the member aspect of it, right? So the members want to be able to spray their own equipment. They want to be able to spray and have a little bit of control over it. That's fine. Okay. They can, but that does not negate your responsibilities, right, to clean. Okay. Right? So if you were leaving the spray bottles and saying, well, the members have it, you'll fail.
Right. So what's my downtime? So I get done, I spray my whole gym, it's not going to take me that long. I spray the equipment we were using for that day. At night, I'm going to hit my floors, I'm going to hit that area, whatnot. So what's the dry time? What do I look at? 15 minutes? 10 minutes?
So one of the, there's actually a lot of factors at play here. So as of right now, based on the heat, the humidity, your non-existent HVAC system, and well, you actually have.
I do.
You have, in this facility, you do. Right? So there's a lot of different factors in play. So with this, you're going to be looking around 10 total minutes.
Right.
You're going to be about 2 minutes saturation time plus air dry an additional
Right.
8 minutes. So you're
In that time period.
in that time period, you're going to be able to cycle through pretty quickly. But now in the winter, it might be a little bit longer.
Okay.
Right, so that's why also one of the benefits of the monthly ongoing process is that things change. Every month there's different factors
Right.
that change how we have to clean and maintain those guidelines. So what works today might not work tomorrow.
Okay.
Right, so you have to also play it by ear. And one of the things that the CDC says is that every facility is different, they acknowledge it, and that you have to basically do a couple of months of trial and error to see what works for you.
Right, because not everybody has the amount of equipment that I
Right.
have, and I do think have
Way more equipment.
than I have.
Exactly.
And then there's just the dojos or people who do one-on-ones, so it might just be mats and things of that nature. So
Right.
they're not going to go through the product as much as you are, or
Exactly.
have as many classes with that many people touching and sweating and doing all that stuff.
Exactly. So this 12G might last you 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It could last a retro 3 days.
Sure.
Right? So it really depends, and you really have to get into the habit of it. And once you start using this piece of equipment, for you, perfectly fine. But again, a retro might need a backpack or 2 backpacks.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Right.
So it really is getting on the same page of what you need for your specs.
Okay.
Right? So there's a lot of different things at play, and as we all know from the fitness industry, there's just so many different sub-niches that.
So at the end of the day, what is this honestly doing in layman's terms? So I got everything I'm supposed to do, and I'm not, I get the whole thing with the Clorox wipes and why it really doesn't work and that type of stuff. So this is not part of the government or the state guideline, but it could be because the Department of Health can actually test and choose for what they want.
Right.
But why is this beneficial for my members so that my members and the people at the NYFC know we're doing something more, and now it gives the reassurance when people come in. So what is it really that it's doing?
Well, so there's actually different tiers to why it's beneficial. So the current guidelines don't specify equipment. While they specify spray bottles, that's really just the cheapest actual form of disbursement that they chose. Right? So what we're doing is we're saying buy something that is $110, $130 on Amazon, and it's to make your facility better because you're being able to coat more and faster. Which means for your business, you can get more sessions in, more classes in, etc. Now, from a technological standpoint, what this is doing is it's bonding itself to surfaces, and it's eradicating the full spectrum of the ATP, which is biofilm. And it's killing that food source for the bacteria and germs, and it's killing the replication and respiration source for viruses. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, right? The viruses, the COVID-19s. So while there is a direct, for the CDC, there is a direct correlation between high ATP levels and high surface viral loads. And this piece of equipment and things like it, backpacks, sprayers, etc., eradicates infection. It gets us down to those lower ATP thresholds, which we again have figured is anywhere from a 250 to 350. It gets a little to the science aspect of it. And this just gets us down to where we need to be faster.
So for this, if we're doing this in between classes and we're doing this every single day, we should be able to maintain those levels.
You shouldn't be able to, you will.
You will. So that brings us into where you're going a step further. So this is how we're going to clean, this is what we're going to do. But this brings us into our testing.
Right.
So that we make sure that every single gym is meeting those levels every month, which is letting the consumer again know that we are doing what we said. That it's not taking our word for it, it's actual proof that we can show you from the testing results with a letter grade that will be posted. So why don't you tell us a little bit?
Right. So basically the ATP testing isn't something that we invented and made up. This is something that's backed by almost 40 years of science at this point. This is what New York State and New York City use for the restaurant industry. Right. So as part of when Suffolk County approached me to say, hey, help us with the protocol, we started to pull different aspects of different state procedures and processes and protocols to build into the fitness industry. And one of them was the surface testing. So what we are taking from this is that, is there a metric that we can use as a foresight into a warning, as a warning system? And that's what this is. So what we are testing isn't necessarily a base level of ATP or surface contamination. we're actually testing your cleaning protocol and how clean your facility is, your overall hygiene.
Right.
That is why this test doesn't take place until after cleaning. So we're not saying to test, then clean. We're saying to clean, then test.
Because seeing how well you did.
Exactly. So that's also one of the other reasons why we're promoting a uniform cleaning product.
Right.
Because different cleaning products, and it says per the CDC, per the Department of Health, per various products, it will say if you use different products, you may give false positives. So I can't account for every false negative or every false positive per the different products that everyone uses. Doesn't make sense. So with a uniform product and a uniform test, we have the grounds and the ability to create a program that says we are in compliance with the state. We have the one step ahead of the Department of Health, and if they start to test, which we don't know yet.
Right, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. But once the Department of Health gets involved, and if Governor Cuomo or whatever governing bodies, localities or otherwise say, we are now going to implement surface testing. And as of right now, surface testing is higher on their list than airborne at this point, right now. So it is not a very far stretch to say they may test for surface.
Plus for us, as a fitness facility, we shut so long, we fear getting reshut.
Right.
So part of the idea of doing this for every gym out there is that now Kevin's going to be storing that data. And if you were to get shut, we would have the ability to say, well, that might be the person down the block, but that's nobody in our coalition because we have the numbers here to show we've been hygienic, and we have the trackable data of our members coming in with health forms.
Exactly.
So we're hopeful between going above and beyond and doing that in a way can actually keep us open and show the public that we're the only industry, we are the only one that is doing this.
Right. Exactly. So, but your contact tracing is mandated by the state.
Right.
This is above and beyond the state.
Right.
Right. So when you combine them both, there's very little room for arguability that says they came from here. You can say, well, we didn't let them in if they came here first, and if they snuck in, here are our metrics every month. Here's the cleaning program or protocols and products that you have already approved for the state. It's not us.
Right.
And that's it. And also, from another aspect of it is also the frivolous lawsuit aspect of it.
So what about the testing itself? Now that's done randomly, meaning you're not telling me what you're going to test, so I don't know. You can go to the most tiniest spot someplace and test that, and I'm going to sit here and be like, oh boy, I hope we're testing it in. So really, it is on us to make sure that we're doing the right job.
Right. So from the Department of Health point of view, if they came in and tested, they haven't set. I'll reverse. If they test you like the restaurants, they are going to come in and most likely, for example, they'll give you maybe 2 base tests, which is 2 areas not normally touched. Okay. So taking another step back, ATP is an organic energy molecule found in all living things, right? So ATP is on my hand right now. It's on all of us. So they will give you a test of 2 base, maybe behind the box, or maybe on somewhere where it's not normally exposed. And that's going to be your base facility reading. So it's going to be extremely low number, hopefully. Now they're going to test 8 other random spots with potentially higher loads.
Right.
Okay. So what we're going to do when we do specifically we do the mail-in case, we are going to do the Zoom meeting where we're going to have you test 2 base areas. Okay. And then we're going to have you test 8 various objects in the gym. Now every month this is actually going to be different as well.
Okay.
So that's why. Because we're not measuring the same areas every month, and we're not measuring this like a COVID test. Okay. That's also what I want to make sure that people understand is that we're not testing specifically for COVID.
Right.
Because if we were, I could test a 4-inch by 4-inch square, which is part of the metrics, is a 4-inch by 4-inch square. And then I could leave, and then 2 seconds later someone could sneeze on that exact square.
Right.
Or I could test that 4-inch by 4-inch square, but someone earlier sneezed on that 4-inch by 4-inch square, right? So it doesn't make sense, and that's why that specifically doesn't work. And it also takes 6 to 8 days to get a COVID test, in best case scenarios. And by that time, you get false positives, false negatives. Okay, so what we're actually doing, as it ties into the letter grade, is we're doing an overall facility average. Because that's what we want. Because we know that based upon 10 samples At our pass rate of 350 per sample, you should not exceed 3,500 RLUs. If you are above that, then you get a C or lower, and then we'll have to operate, we'll have to go down different steps to make sure that you are in compliance going forward. Okay, so and then every month, like I said, we're going to change that because I don't want you knowing you don't know what you're going to test until that Zoom call.
Correct.
Right? Because otherwise you can go,
Yeah.
okay, I'm ready, Kevin. I did it. Right? So you don't know until I'm on the Zoom with you, and that sort of is the random testing aspect of it.
Okay.
And that sort of is our closest way to mimic the Department of Health's random testing, if it ever happens.
Awesome. So again, the point of doing it all for all of our members and everybody out there is so that you can be rest assured that we've gone above and beyond. We are meeting the state guidelines, but we're exceeding them. Not only exceeding them, we're following the same DOH guidelines that they've been using for 30 plus years, and it's the one that is government backed, and it's the one that's used in government agencies. And you'll be able to notice because we're going to have that grade out there. We're going to have a trusted safe out there sign, and then it's going to be a fitness safe with a grade. So you're going to know. And if you go to a place that doesn't have it, that'll be up to you to go there. But this is something that we came up with. This is something that we partnered with Kevin and his company to do for the fitness industry, so that we let you know above and beyond what we were going for. So, anything else before we go?
No, I think we're, as an industry, under your coalition's leadership, we're going above and beyond, like I said earlier, no other industry is doing this. And that's it. That's all you need to know.
Well, I appreciate your time. If there's anybody out there that hasn't done this yet, wants to be involved, get in touch with us at the NYSC. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.